This is the Barbecue Central Show podcast, being generated from a live recording of the Barbecue Central Show, which airs at thebbqcentralshow.com every Tuesday between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Barbecue Central Show being brought to you by the Barbecue Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices. Visit them at thebbqguru.com or call them 800-288-GURU. And by Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply, sauces, rubs, grills, smokers, everything for the outdoor chef. Visit them online at tastylicksbbq.com or call them 800-677-2882. And by Butcher Barbecue, manufacturers of premium injections, rubs, and sauces. Visit them online and take full advantage at butcherbbq.com. And by Stephen DeFranco Jeweler, official jeweler of the Barbecue Central Show. Visit them at StephenDeFranco.com or call 440-943-2700 and use keyword Barbecue Brother to receive all the discounts. And by iGrill, manufacturer of Bluetooth-enabled temperature, which is generated and sent to your smart device. You can find out more information by visiting iGrillInc.com. Use promo code CENTRAL to get 15% off your entire order at the iGrill Inc. store. And by Green Mountain Grills, one of the country's premier pellet grill manufacturers. 3 different sizes to choose from, something to fit in every budget, and find out more by visiting greenmountaingrills.com. And by Cook Shack, the country's premier manufacturer of electronic and pellet-driven cookers, servicing the residential, commercial, and competition markets. Visit cookshack.com for more information.
Hi, this is Bobby Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central show, ladies and gentlemen. Happy to have you aboard here. This is a show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling, broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, rapidly becoming known as the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. If you see fit to jump in the show tonight, more than happy to have you. It's a call on the phone, 216-220-0966. You can also email the show if you would prefer. That's encouraged, especially if you don't like to talk on the phone. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. 2 bits of contact info in case you feel the need to jump in. Everything else about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening on the show tonight. Coming up in about 13 minutes from now, President of the IBCA, that's India Bravo Charlie Alpha, President Lynn Shivers will be joining us. And then at 9:35, keeping it a little IBCA-related, Clarence Joseph, winner of the W3 Barbecue Series, Momma and Poppa Joe's barbecue team. We're going to recount the win this past weekend, which also propelled him into winning the overall series title, which we talked to Steve Grams about a couple weeks ago, if you would recall that, pumping up the IBCA for the first hour. And then we'll move over to the second hour. And really, the second hour fell apart on me hand over fist within the last 60 to 75 minutes. And I do my best to backfill with quality entertainment, and I think I have done that. For instance, at 10:14, a guy who has a tremendously popular barbecue blog, John Dawson, Patio Daddio Barbecue. PatioDaddyOBBQ.com is his website if you want to check him out. And, as always, you see her as a regular contributor on this show. I ate her food literally every day growing up. Connie's Recipe Corner founder and co-host Connie Rempe joining me. So there you go. Show has rounded out nicely. Seemed a bit skittish for the last 60 minutes, but we have rallied in form and fashion. And if you want to jump in on your own accord, your own dime, 216-220-0966. Email Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. All right, make your Facebook posts, your tweets. Let everybody know that you are watching the show. A couple different websites. OutdoorCookingChannel.com for the video stuff. TheBBQCentralShow.com for the audio stuff. And if you have Roku or Internet Protocol Television that has the Outdoor Cooking Channel app in its particular app store, download it, and then you can watch the live stream right here in glorious high definition on your television from the comfort of your bedroom or your living room or media room or office or dog's den or whatever you call it, because technology is here. Take advantage of it. Don't forget you can subscribe to iTunes for replays of the show. Also, the YouTube page, which is Barbecue for You, BARBECUE, the numeral 4, the letter U, so YouTube/Barbecue for You. Of course, Outdoor Cooking Channel has all the replays of video. The main website has all the video and audio replays. So, as I always say each and every week, no reason you should ever miss anything on this show ever, not even one interview or a second. If you're not even bothering to put forth a modicum of effort, maybe you won't find it. But if you can at least put forth a modicum, then you will indeed find what you're looking for. All right. Quickly, look, I don't give shout-outs, as it were, but I do want to holla at my boy Midnight Oil Steve Ray from Owl's Nest Barbecue. He's in live tonight in the chat room. Happy to have you joining us tonight, Steve. Also, let me holler at you for a second. My wife, an instructor at Kent State University, I call her professor. Well, she says she's technically not a professor, but I'm like, hey, if you work at Kent and you're instructing people, you're professor to me. And if it's free, it's me. And if you're teaching at a college, you're professor to me. Every year they have a fundraiser. It's called the Ed Taylor Fundraiser for Pancreatic Cancer. And the crux of the whole situation is this. The whole physical therapy, well, actually the whole branch gets together baskets. They auction those off and use the proceeds, donate back to the cancer research. I told my wife that I would get the word out and ask if anyone I would impart on you that if you have anything that you would like to donate, sauce, rubs, T-shirts, boots, anything barbecue related, preferably not used, get in touch with me. Shoot me an email or message me, or you can pretty much get in touch with me a number of different ways through social media and traditional email and stuff. But if you have something, please consider donating it here. This is a great cause. We want to see how many barbecue baskets we can actually build. Maybe she would be a top basket producer. 5 baskets or 3 baskets or 7 baskets or whatever. And again, 100% of the proceeds that will come through sales of these baskets, no matter how many we do, will go directly to cancer research. So again, if you have any items that you can donate to this particular effort, I would consider it a personal favor, of course. We've already had some really big donations from Barbecue Hooks, from CancerSucksChicago.com, Scotty Johnson over there, and a few other people. So if you'd like to take part, and let's see how many baskets we can build and show Kent State that the Centralites are a strong bunch, and we are getting behind a great effort, of course, cancer research, in an effort to find a cure. Paramount, and we do it in many different ways here. So again, my email, if you want to get in touch, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Many of you that have been fans of the show for some time recall the Barbecue Institute was an advertiser on the show for a while. And Conrad Haskins was the man behind that business, was also pitmaster of a competition cooking team. This past Saturday, the 22nd, Conrad suffered a sudden heart attack and was actually not able to recover. Passed away Sunday, the 23rd. And I started going through some Facebook posts and stuff on his website after I had kind of seen it through some news feeds and gotten some other emails from some folks kind of alerting me to that. And I guess in an odd bit of foreshadowing, Conrad's last post on Facebook, only a few days before that ill-fated heart attack took him on the 22nd. It was March 19th, his last post read. One of the sad facts of growing older is the older you get, the more people you know that are younger than you that have passed away. Prophetic words, I guess, in a way. Conrad taught many people the joy of barbecuing, had success in the competition world, and I think on the whole was an asset to the industry, and I know many of you feel like that. Look, to be blunt, we didn't have the best ending of our business relationship, I guess. We had some differing views on how we should do business together. But certainly respected him as a man, as an entrepreneur, and for the work especially that he did with our troops. Paramount to me, obviously. And I say it every time when someone passes away here on the show. Folks, life is fleeting. Truth be told, we're all going to die. There's no way around it. I try to encourage my kids and people that I work with and everybody to not be afraid of dying. I mean, we all know it's going to happen. I don't know if you can embrace it, but try. I don't know if you can accept it, but try. Maybe not look forward to it. That's not what I'm saying. But, kind of live today and tomorrow and the next day. Kind of let that, knowing that you're going to die. I mean, it's going to happen. But kind of let that guide you to living life every day to the fullest and making sure that you're appreciative of what you have, and if you haven't connected with somebody in a long time and you've been meaning to do that, make the time to do that. Tell the people that are dear to you that you love them. Take time from this show right now. Call your mom, call your dad, call your wife or your kids or whatever. Maybe you haven't talked, whatever. But don't ever end up on the wrong side of the time dial and have regret. Don't go through life every day thinking, I should have done this or I should have done that. That's no way to go through life. Try every night to go to bed and say, if I passed away tonight, if this was my final day on earth, I wouldn't like that too much, but I'm pretty satisfied. I think I was a good dad, I think I was a good worker, I think I was a loyal guy, a friend to many. That's really what you want to strive for. So, certainly sad to hear of Conrad's passing. And we lift one up to him one more time as he heads to the big barbecue in the sky. We're going to be back with Lynn Shivers from IBCA here in just a second. But first, folks, barbecue competition season is near. Wait, this isn't the one I'm supposed to read. Here it is. Hold on. Damn it. Such an idiot. Centralites, are you interested in taking barbecue or smoked foods to the next level? Have you thought about starting a catering business, opening a food truck, or even your own restaurant? If you have answered yes to any of these questions, let Cook Shack help you be successful. Register for Cook Shack's Fast Eddie restaurant and catering class to be held in July. This class, held to the Country Club in Ponca City, Oklahoma, uses their commercial kitchen. You'll see how to cook on a Cook Shack Charbroil, an FEC 500, FEC 120, and an SM 160. All smokers used during the class will be available for purchase at a special rate at participants at the class. Class has classroom portion and hands-on portion. If you want to handle meat, rubs, and knives, this is the best class for you. Each student will learn how to select proper meat cuts, how to trim brisket, pork butts, ribs, and chicken. Other topics to be discussed include menu items, cook and hold techniques, food safety, brining, profitability, and yields. It also includes setup of a dinner service and serving the patrons of the country club. This class is taught by legendary Fast Eddie Moore, barbecue pitmaster, TV show finalist Dave Bosca of Butcher's Barbecue Competition, cooking team, and CEO, president of Cook Shack, Stuart Powell. Each student will receive a binder with class materials and supplies and Cook Shack spices and sauces to take home. It also includes 3 nights of hotel stay, meals, a tour of the Cook Shack's manufacturing facility, and a tour of the Head Country barbecue manufacturing facility. Again, the dates here, July 21st and July 22nd. Class size limited to 25 students. That's right, 25. Sign up today. For more information, contact Krista with Cook Shack, 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. Or email her at C_Jones, that's Charlie_Jones, at cookshack.com. For additional information on Cook Shack or Fast Eddie by Cook Shack, visit cookshack.com. Again, that number, 800-423-0698, or the email C_Jones at cookshack.com for the July 21st and 22nd Cook Shack cooking class. Get in on that. We're back with IBCA President Lynn Shivers right after this.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Number to get in touch with me. Don't forget, coming up in about 25 minutes from now, Clarence Joseph from Momma and Papa Joe's barbecue team will be joining us. I said at the beginning of this year that when we got into the competition side of things in 2014, it wasn't just going to be KCBS. And I especially wanted to get more involved with the IBCA. Tonight we kick it off in fine fashion, and what leads to an all-IBCA first hour. Let's go ahead and race over the hotline. Welcome current president of the IBCA, Lynn Shivers, joining me here on the show. Lynn, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Greg, and how are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Lynn. Appreciate you making time for the show tonight. And, I guess a couple different places that we could start here. But first, I guess for the people that don't know Lynn and kind of how you got involved with I guess competition in general, but then how that progressed into the IBCA stuff.
Well, actually, my husband's hobby is the way I got started, and been involved ever since he got started in '85.
So this is your husband's fault, basically, is what we can say.
Yes.
So when you get involved in just the cooking part of it, how does that, I guess, translate into deciding to get involved with an actual sanctioning organization and kind of building in from there?
Well, he was one of 9 cooks that started the IBCA, and we needed someone to be involved in administering the judging. I volunteered, and the rest is history.
All right, so when we look at the IBCA, I guess for the folks that aren't familiar with all the sanctioning bodies that are out there, and then certainly there's a number of them, does IBCA tend to live in a particular region of the country? Do you guys spread the wings and kind of get all over the place? Where's the sweet spot, and where does the growth look to go?
We basically are based in Texas, but we have events from Mississippi to Hawaii. We actually have the only sanctioned event in Hawaii at this time.
How does that even come about? I mean, it seems like Hawaii is, I guess, what you would call kind of removed from the traditional United States.
The promoter is actually from Texas, and he contacted us to see if we could work with him, and we've been doing it. I think this will be our 4th year, if not 5th, and we had 16 teams this past year.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you how many teams show up. As far as quality of team and quality of food, I guess, myopically you would look at, the more traditional United States and say, well, Texas, well known as one of the true meccas of barbecue. When you push out to Hawaii, I guess you would seem to think there would be a different kind of flair when it comes to cooking the chicken and the ribs and the brisket. How do you think they stack up against what you would see in the normal states?
Well, we've actually had several teams that have traveled to Hawaii from the States, because if they should happen to be lucky enough to win Grand Champion, it's an automatic into the Jack Daniels. They are using Brinkman or Weber's, different types of cookers.
Lynn Shivers joining me here on the show. By the way, if you want to check out the website, ibcabbq.com is the website. If you want to check.
No, it's .org, Greg. I'm sorry.
Is it? Sorry, .org. IBCABBQ.org?
Yes.
All right, sorry about that. My bad. So check it. Don't put .com. Do .org if you want to check out while we're talking here tonight. When you have these contests, and let me back out just for a second. As far as if I was going to go and cook in an IBCA, if you could kind of break down what's expected of the cooks, what meats I'm going to cook, and how the judging takes place.
Okay. We do basically 1/2 chicken, pork spare rib, and brisket. We do not allow baby backs. Brisket, we tell them exactly how many slices to put in the container. It can be between 1/4 and 3/8 inch thick. We do 7 pork spare ribs, unless we get into a larger event and over 50, and we turn in 2 half chickens, 9 ribs, and 9 slices of brisket. The judging is done by the general public. We ask them to look at the box, smell of it, look at it, taste of it, give it a score from 1 to 10, 10 being the very best. And they are judged on aroma, color, texture, taste, and overall.
Is there some of these sanctioning bodies have like classes or certifications. When you say it's done by the general public, can you show up to an event, ask if there's a judge slot open, and get a chair and get into that judge's tent?
Yes, you can.
How do you...
We do not certify our judges. Basically, what you like in barbecue and what I like in barbecue would be totally different.
How do you... I'm actually a big fan of your style of judging. I think if you're going to sit down, and I'm sure the KCBS and the FBA people are falling over and cursing my name right now. So here, my opinion is this. Like you just said, if I sit down and I take a taste of a rib and you take a taste of a rib, our flavor profiles or things that we enjoy on our palates are going to be pretty different. It's safe to assume. So why bother trying to tell somebody what should taste good or how it should taste to be scored a certain way when I know what tastes good to me and you know what tastes good to you? And if you put all these people together in a judge's tent, chances are a lot of people are going to cancel each other out, and like always, cream will rise to the top.
Exactly. Judging is very subjective, and that's the reason we like Joe Public. They are not allowed to touch the meat. They use a plastic knife and fork to judge, even the ribs. They are allowed 1/4 of a rib, but they will judge approximately 15 containers.
Do you have let me ask this question because I found it interesting. I know, in some of the other sanctioning bodies, I guess it's up for choice. You can do spares, you can do baby back ribs, but it's just spares here in IBCA. Why has there been a delineation between doing just spares versus having the choice between the two?
Basically, there's not enough meat on a baby back to make it through the judging. Because at a large event, you could have as many as 17 to 25 judges judge out of one container.
Oh, really? Wow.
We do not go back and ask for additional meat. We are totally blind. Some people think we are a little antique, but we use theater tickets on our containers. The cook will sign one copy of it, and the other one, it remains on the container. Until we go to the awards and remove that ticket, no one knows whose container it is.
Do you think doing it that way kind of leads to the drama during awards? Seems like it would be a little bit more exciting that way.
Well, it definitely does, because you're watching to see who's going to be coming out of the crowd when you call that ticket off.
Right.
And if it's their ticket number, usually they get excited.
Lynn Shivers joining me here on the show. IBCABBQ.org is the website if you want to check it out here while we're chatting. Lynn, obviously there was a very large series. Well, it was, I don't know, large, but a three competition series, the W3 Barbecue Cook-Off Series that just ended this past week, and that was sanctioned by IBCA. When you have, a company or a number of companies kind of coming to you for judging sanctions to do their series, is that something that really kind of excites you and shows you that there's still a passion and a growth for the competition side of barbecue just in general?
Well, there is definitely a growth. The Western 3 was a success. We had to work through some problems to begin with, but we got through them because of the tickets. Them wanting the cooks to present their tickets to them prior to the judging. And needless to say, that's very much against the IBCA rule.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would imagine at the end, having proper sanctioning is going to be reigning supreme over, kind of getting a little bit more of I don't want to say getting your way, but, you want to have something that's there and following all the rules while you're doing a series like this.
Well, it takes additional people to do what Western Wood did. After the brisket was turned in, the cooks were asked to present their ticket numbers, but it was not until the last category was turned in. And then they had some young ladies that entered all of the ticket numbers. That's the way they were able to do it.
Would you be interested in sanctioning another series if they decided to stretch it into like a 6 or a 10, or maybe even something similar to like what the KCBS has with Sam's Club? Is that something that the IBCA would be welcome to take a look at?
We're looking, we're working with that and waiting to see what will produce itself. Our organization is growing about 20% every year.
Wow.
In 2013, we sanctioned 243 events. We already have over 200 events on the calendar for this year.
Do you have an idea of the percentage of people that are members of the IBCA and the percentage of people that are actually doing a cook during the course of a year?
Usually our membership runs around 90% cookers.
Wow.
We don't have the membership like KCBS does of the certified judges. 90% of our membership, like I say, are cooks. At a lot of the events, you would have anywhere from 50 to 60% IBCA members when it's an IBCA sanctioned event. Sometimes a little higher.
Do you need to be an IBCA member to take part? Like if I wanted to come down from Cleveland and cook in a contest in Texas, do I need to be an IBCA member in order to take part in a contest?
No, you do not. The only reason that most people are members is we have added money that is paid out in the different areas. Part of our sanctioning fee we take and we pay back to the members that are members of the different groups. And in October, the past few years, we have done the cook-off at Traders Village in Grand Prairie, to where we took the added money and paid back to the top 15 in each meat category. If they happen not to be a member and they placed, then the money dropped down to the next IBCA member. So 16th and 17th place had won the IBCA money.
Well, so potentially it does pay to be an IBCA member to a certain degree.
$35 a year from September 1st to August 31st of each year. I've had a couple of young guys that failed to pay their membership on time, and at Traders Village, it ended up costing them close to $1,000.
Oh, well, yeah, see, a small expense, wise investment to be there. Again, ibcabbq.org is the website if you want to check it out. Lynn, I mean, you've been around it since 1985, as you said, when you started in with your husband, and obviously now you're president of a very large sanctioning body. As you look back over the years, you know, there are 2 or 3 things that have really surprised you or really taken you aback as, wow, I didn't really see this turn in the road as competition barbecue going this way, or I never thought we would see so much injecting or using this kind of a spice or that kind of a spice. What has really stood out to you as changes of evolution of barbecue over the years?
I guess the growth, because 25 years ago when IBCA started, if you would have told us that we would have had 1,000 members today and do over 200 events, I would have told everybody they were crazy. The people involved, the television coverage has definitely perked everybody's attention to barbecue. And it's been a fun ride. I've actually been able to judge events from Virginia to California. And the people that I've met and just everything about them has been a great experience.
When you're going from region to region, if you're eating in Virginia, I mean, obviously you're very accustomed to eating in Texas. You go out to California. Do you notice differences in flavor profiles as you're judging, or do they seem pretty consistent from east to west and north to south?
Well, to be honest with you, Greg, I very seldom tasted the barbecue because I'm just overseeing the judging. It's gotten to where pork is about the only thing I can eat without getting indigestion.
As far as big events coming up in 2014, I mean, obviously every event that you guys are sanctioning is big, but are there some big marquee events that the cooks like to get out to and try and win during the course of a year?
Well, we've just recently had, since January, we've had 6 that's had over 100 teams.
Wow.
2 of them being the Western Wood. We actually had one a couple of weeks ago for the West Volunteer Fire Department, where we had the explosion last year and lost our promoter. And so it was a great event. We have several others that's coming up within the next couple of months. We have one over at Terrell, Texas, which is a close to 100 team. And they have not only the barbecue, but they have the car show and arts and crafts, something for the whole family.
Yeah, I think that's key when you're doing barbecue competitions. Is if you're not competing, it might as well get down there and check some other things out as well. And I guess maybe what's a little bit different with the IBCA as well is people can get food from teams, correct, or is that incorrect?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Can people just showing up to kind of look and take it all in, are they able to get food from the teams as well, or is that a no-no?
No, they are not allowed to get food from the teams because of the health rules. The teams basically are cooking for the judges.
Gotcha. All right.
Now, we're always welcome anybody to come in and sit down and judge.
That's the easiest way to get the food, right?
Exactly. And not only do you get to taste of, like I said earlier, up to 15 different containers. So there's 15 different profiles there.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to be looking for the nearest IBCA judging competition where I'm at. Of course, nobody ever comes up to Cleveland. I'm stuck here all by myself here, Lynn.
You just need to make a trip down to Texas.
Trust me, after a day like today, that couldn't sound any more inviting as we battle snowstorms here again. But nevertheless, we're talking with IBCA President Lynn Shivers. Again, the website, ibcabbq.org if you want to check it out. Lynn, really appreciate the time tonight. Thanks so much for coming up.
Well, thank you for calling.
You got it. There she is, Miss President, Lynn Shivers of IBCA. And look, I'm going to sit here and tell you unabashedly that that is the way to judge. I mean, who are we as a human society to tell people this is what's right and this is what's wrong? I mean, to me, IBCA has it right. Hey, sit down. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Does it look good to you? Does it not look good to you? Who are you to tell me what should look good or what should not look good? Who are you? I think I'm all on board for that. I think people should be a little more open-minded when it comes to judging stuff like that. Maybe it would iron some problems out in some other place. All right, folks, if you're like me, you're looking to step up that barbecue and grilling game. Easiest way to do it, Butcher Barbecue, Dave Bosca. No validation needed. I don't need to tell you that he's been on TV a bunch of times. I don't need to tell you that teams that have won the Houston Livestock and Rodeo competition have used Dave's products. Teams from KCBS, FBA, IBCA all use Butcher Barbecue products. How about the fact that Dave Bosca himself uses Butcher Barbecue products? How about I have a 5-pound bag of honey rub that I used on pork butts over the weekend? Yeah, you're damn right. The stuff's great. So we obviously know that Butcher's well known for the injections of pork, the beef, the prime, the bird booster. Perhaps you're looking for the go-to rubs, the sauces. Friends, again, the mother load has been hit. Butcher Barbecue, full line of award-winning rubs. Two personal favorites of mine, that steak and brisket rub, of course, and then that honey rub, which I just mentioned. If you're going to use that premium rub and you inject, use a premium rub. It's used and made especially to work hand-in-hand with that Butcher's Barbecue injection. Perfect 1-2 punch to impress judges and friends alike. And last but not least, I was just having some on. I made a reheated pulled pork on a slider bun, some Butcher Barbecue sweet sauce on the bottom of the bun, and a nice heavy hand of pulled pork. French fried onion ring, creamy coleslaw, boom on top. Man, that Butcher's Barbecue sauce, nice bit of tang and sweetness and heat. Man, I love it. Can't go wrong with it. And everybody knows I'm as stingy as it comes when I'm tasting other people's barbecue sauce. And by stingy, I mean I don't usually like other people's barbecue sauce, which is why I don't usually like to review barbecue sauces on this show, but sometimes I will. You need to visit butcherbbq.com. That's butcherbbq.com. Don't forget, trade-in program still going on right now. If you don't like somebody else's commercially made injection, send it back to Dave. He'll replace it with his stuff. Also, the injection shaker, or whatever I guess the proper name for that is, but it gives you all the lines of demarcation to build your injections properly, on-site, off-site, whatever. You can take it with you. butcherbbq.com. That's butcherbbq.com. We're back with Clarence Joseph right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. Once again, thanks to Lynn Shivers joining me to talk about the IBCA. IBCABBQ.org, place to go for that. A few weeks back, we talked to the director of the W3 Barbecue Series. That came to an end this past weekend, and the winner of the W3 Series joins me now to talk about his time during that win, their series, all that good stuff. Pitmaster of Momma and Poppa Joe barbecue team. Let's go ahead and race over to the hotline and welcome in Clarence Joseph to the show. Clarence, how are you?
How are you doing, Greg?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Clarence. And you?
Life is great. Life is great. Can't complain.
As the great Tony Rizzo locally here in Cleveland says, it's good to be alive because, quite honestly, what's the alternative?
Absolutely. I can't argue with that.
That's right. Clarence Joseph is the pitmaster of Momma and Poppa Joe's barbecue team. So let me start right there before I ask about the background on that stuff. I'm endlessly fascinated by how teams come up with names. And yours certainly gets my attention. How do you come up with Momma and Poppa Joe's barbecue team?
There are several parts to that name. First of all, my dad was sort of the neighborhood don, and a lot of people came to him over the years, asking for help. And he was commonly referred to as Poppa Joe's. When I decided to start barbecuing, a buddy and I, Paul Carnell, we started a team together, and I am still a great fan of the group, the Mommas and the Poppas. So we sort of made that our name. And when we decided to cook individually, just the wife and I sort of put those two pieces together, and there you have Mom and Poppa Joe's. Currently, it's just the wife and I cooking together.
At what point did you decide that you would try your hand at competition barbecue? Typically, there's like a precipitating event, or you have a buddy that got into it, and you kind of just got dragged along by the nape of your neck. I mean, how do you get into it?
Again, it's the same buddy, Paul Carnell. We're military buddies. We started cooking together, and we used to live very close to each other. We'd spend weekends at each other's houses, barbecuing back and forth, and we always had the kidding going on as to whose barbecue was better. And a couple of years ago, when the Pitmasters TV show really started spreading across the nation, for us it just seemed like the natural step to take it forward and throw our hats in the ring. And we launched in 2010, and this is where we are currently.
How many events are you guys looking to take part in during the course of a year?
Last year we did 28. This year I'm looking to at least reach that number again, if not surpass it. I'd like to surpass 28.
We look back this past weekend. Obviously, it was the last event of the W3 Cook-Off Series. There were two preceding events. You win this past weekend. You take the overall championship. If you could take me back kind of through that whole series and kind of gauge your cooks and kind of where you were plotting yourself in coming up to this last competition this past weekend.
Greg, I've got to tell you, it's been an amazing weekend. I'm still on cloud nine. As I look back to last November when the series started in Green, I went into that series feeling really good. I thought I turned in some excellent products, but apparently I made some mistakes along the way. I actually had a chicken DQ'd, and that's the first time in since I've been competing. But I sort of made up for it with a first place brisket to some degree. Went into the second cook again, and again couple of things didn't go right. The best I did in that second event was a fifth place chicken. My ribs again didn't go very far, and I found out where my mistake was in the ribs. And after Helotes, I really spent some time working out the kinks, and coming into Pleasanton, I've been doing some really good finishes at the competitions prior to Pleasanton. And as we went in, I felt good. I felt good about all my turn-ins, and the results showed.
When you're working those competitions prior to this Pleasanton, are you trying to nail down certain flavor profiles? Were you trying to hit new finish temperatures? Was it a combination of both? Were you working on a sauce? What were you looking to really pound down before you got into this last?
For me, it was I thought I had been overcooking one of my products, and I ended up cutting back on my cooking time, That seemed to have been my only issue. One of my products was either hit or miss. I mean, I'd be top three or bottom three, it seems. And I couldn't figure out why. And just over the process of eliminating some of the things that you think might be problems, I think I was able to figure it out. And like I said, I was able to put it all together in Pleasanton.
I talked with Steve Grams 2-3 weeks ago, kind of leading up into this last competition this past weekend, and he was really pumping up the event itself, the series itself, doing a very good job at it. I mean, he speaks very well. From a cook's perspective, obviously you're a cook's cook. What did you think of the series, how it was put together, and is this something that you would like to see maybe even get bigger and better for next year?
Even in those cook-offs that I didn't do as well as I wanted, I kept giving Westernwood praise for the way the cook-off was ran, for the innovation that they were putting into this series. In terms of money, the type of money they were putting out there was unheard of. The innovative scoring system, the use of technology in scoring system. I really think Western has got a group of individuals that are looking to the future, and I see no reason why they cannot be a leader nationally in terms of the barbecue arena.
CJ joining me here on the show, Clarence Joseph, Momma and Poppa Joe's barbecue team. CJ, you got a website for people to check out?
It's a Facebook website, Momma and Poppa Joe's. I don't have a personal team page, so to speak, but we do our thing on Facebook, like many of the other cooks do.
I think everybody does a lot of things on Facebook. Probably some people are regretting things they do on Facebook from time to time. All right, so let me pick your brain just a little bit about, unfortunately, I think this show sometimes gets unfairly pigeonholed, and probably has something to do with me of being a KCBS show that deals a lot with these cooks. And I said, 2014 is the year where I really branch out and start to hit all the sanctioning bodies. And IBCA was one that I really marked off to try and get in and get the mindset of, there's different rules, there's not the same amount of meats that you're turning in, there's no garnish in boxes. A lot of the stuff that you hear on the show traditionally is stuff that isn't happening down in IBCA. So as somebody that is really familiar with the way things are cooked down there and the way competitions run, why do you like taking part in those? And I guess especially talk on the judging, where I could walk in and judge your food.
I think there are just some awesome parts to KCBS cooking. And if I was able to take the best of both Texas sanctioning bodies and the KCBS sanctioning bodies, put those two together, I think it would be the perfect sanctioning body to run a cook-off. I'm not the biggest fan of the garnish in KCBS. I would love to do more KCBS cooks. I've only done one. I made it to the Royale a couple of years ago. Not the biggest fan of the garnish. In a barbecue competition, I really think the meat ought to speak for itself. Absolutely, the meat should do the talking. But I absolutely I love what we're doing here in Texas. I would like to see more of a scoring system such as KCBS is using. Westernwood was able to put something very nice together that worked well for all the cooks who were involved. I would like to see some of our sanctioning bodies in Texas adopt something similar.
Clarence Joseph joining me here on the show. Momma and Poppa Joe's barbecue team is their team name. If you want to check them out, you said they're on Facebook, so go check them out. You've done one KCBS competition. I mean, would you like to, if you had your druthers, would you like to get around and take part in all the different sanctioning bodies just to get a little bit of a flavor? Would you like to do an MBN type thing? And
I'm not very knowledgeable about the MBN, but definitely, I definitely find myself getting more involved in KCBS cooks. Matter of fact, I had an opportunity to cook one in Cedar. We've got Cedar Park, Texas, coming up shortly, and I was already committed. I had already committed to another cook-off, so I had to pass it up. But we're looking at heading back to the American Royale this year, and hopefully we can do a little bit better than we did 2 years ago.
For the beginner, or the novice guy, or the hack like me in the backyard, and obviously you're pretty successful, and you're probably getting a lot of questions all the time about how can I make my barbecue better. What are some of the key things that you tell people when they approach you about some advice on what can I do in the backyard that's really going to produce a good end product for my family or my friends?
I think the best thing you can do in the backyard is to get somebody that's going to give you some truthful critique. Friends and family eating for free tend to tell you what you want to hear. You've got to find some friends that are going to be very brutal. My wife is one of those. I don't always like to hear what she has to say in terms of what I'm trying to get done. But she's more often than not, she's very accurate. So I would tell a beginner, man, find somebody that you can trust. Find neighbors. Send some food to some neighbors that you're not very friendly with, and ask for honest critique. And after that, practice. I can't tell you how much meat I've burned up in the backyard, how much meat I've fed the neighbors trying to get to this point in my cooking career. So definitely practice.
What do you use for a cooker of preference?
My cooker is a Gator Pit.
Yeah,
my cooker is a Gator Pit out of Houston.
Yep.
It's the Captivator model. Not overly large, but perfect size for competitions and for larger groups if I plan on cooking for larger groups.
Richie Robin makes a great product out there, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Last question before I let you go, CJ, and I appreciate the time. You mentioned it's you and the wife that are the team out there. On the course of a given weekend, a lot of guys probably hooking up and barbecue to get away from the wife, not take her with them during the course of a weekend. Does it ever get contentious in the tent when things are going off and turning in? You guys work well together.
We work very well together because she understands me. My wife Alicia has been my wife for 28 years. She understands me. She knows when things aren't going as I want to back off of me. Matter of fact, when things aren't going well, she'll step away. She'll go to somebody else's camp and give me some time to cool down. But she understands what we're doing. She's there, and absolutely. One of the things she does is she gives me my space. She gives me a little space on Friday night, so I can get to hang out with my boys and have a little fun. But come Saturday morning, she's ready for business.
Clarence Joseph is the pitmaster of Momma and Papa Joe's barbecue team. Clarence, really appreciate the time tonight breaking it down for us, man. I'd love to have you back on again soon.
Greg, I really appreciate the opportunity, and I want to thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely. My pleasure. We'll do it again soon.
All right.
There he is, Clarence Joseph. CJ, everybody. If you, one of my birds told me that he goes by CJ. So, I'm the kind of guy that wants to make sure that I'm not overstepping, nicknames and stuff. So, when he says, later, like in an email or something, call me CJ next time, then I'm more than happy to oblige. But, my dad brought me up right. Don't disrespect. Let people tell you what to call them. I think that is that what you used to say back in the old days? Yeah, so check them out on Facebook, Momma and Papa Joe's BBQ team. Momma and Papa Joe's barbecue team. That's CJ, Clarence Joseph. We'll come back, wrap up the first hour right after this. Let me talk to you quickly about the longest-running sponsor of the show, Barbecue Guru. Supposed to be on the show tonight. We had to hold off on that. Big plans in the works. We'll revisit Bob Trudnak here in a couple weeks, but these are the guys that came up with, originated, and perfected automatic pit temperature control devices. Now, if you're not familiar with how these things work, let me tell you. Imagine a product that allows you to set a pit temperature, and once set, it keeps it running at that set temperature all the way through the cook. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's real life. You can take advantage of this technology today. Maybe you are a busy working professional like me, or perhaps when I wasn't a busy working professional, I was always constantly on the run with kids doing errands. Quite frankly, I didn't have the time to set around 10 pit temperatures. I'm sure you don't either. The Barbecue Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt or a brisket or a couple slabs of ribs, and you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done, and the Guru maintains the pit temperature you set it at. Currently, a number of different models to choose from. The one sweeping the nation, ready to be re-unveiled. Can you re-unveil? Party Q, $129, most versatile automatic pit temperature control that is on the market today. It's self-contained. It runs on AA batteries. You can switch it from cooker to cooker. $10 more for the baffle if you have the ceramic or the Kamado style cookers. If you're in the market for a cooker, let me talk to you quickly about the Onyx Oven. It has been winning on the competition circuit as well as in backyards all over the country. Fully insulated, holds a ton of meat, accommodates half and full pans for food service, works seamlessly with, of course, the Barbecue Guru pit temperature devices. Do yourself a favor. Head on over to thebbqguru.com. Check out all their products. If you have any questions about what to order, call them directly, 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. I don't want you to wind up getting something that you don't need or that you're confused with. Hey, if I'm confused, chances are somebody else is confused out there. They'll take all the guesswork out of it. Again, 800-288-GURU, or visit the website, thebbqguru.com, the Barbecue Guru, a breakthrough in barbecue technology. All right, we're back to wrap up the first hour. Right after this, stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
We're back, 216-220-0966 if you want to jump into the show tonight. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Alan writing in via email, where the hell Scott Roberts? I need rub reviews. I hear you. Man, I don't know if it's karma, if we're on the same wavelength, Alan, or what, but literally, had an email exchange with Scott Roberts a little bit earlier today, and we're going to shoot for next week. So just relax. Next week, by the way, could be one of the biggest shows in recent memory. We're going to talk about that at the top of the second hour. IBCA Hour, wrapping up. If you have never heard or never taken part in or never bothered to go to... It's 2014. We're going to do it all this year. We're going to do it live. We'll do it live. Covering all the sanctioning bodies, getting all the insights. CJ, winner of the W3 Barbecue Cook-Off Series. Last event taking place this past weekend in Pleasanton, Texas. Cooking chicken, half chickens, spare ribs only, brisket, no pork butt. Not in Texas, please. Not in Texas, please.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's right, Sweet Brown. Nobody's got time for that. Not in Texas. Maybe sausage. Yeah, that's right. Bill Rempe weighing in. People will let you know what to call them, and you will doing so when you feel comfortable doing so. Well said, son. I knew I had it right. I knew it. All right, we're going to get ready to reload here for the second hour. I'm going to re-top off my tasty libation of ice-cold water. We'll get into some second takes. We'll recap some Sam's Club. We'll talk about who's going to be on the show next week. I have a email question, statement, or whatever from a budding favorite of the show, Gene Apicea. Gene, you're coming up in the second hour right at the top, so be ready. Be prepared. I'm going to answer any and all questions that you have. You're going to see what I say when I'm talking about Gene here. Thanks again, first hour, to Lynn Shivers, current president of the IBCA, and Clarence Joseph from Momma and Papa Joe's barbecue team. We'll step away real quick. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Those are the two ways to get in touch with the show. We'll be back here in just a minute or two. And, it's Apple Seller. Perfect. Look, Eugene, nobody's got a worse last name than me, so know that my malice is done with humor and love. All right, well, we'll step away. We'll come back right after this. Stick around. I'll be right back. Happy to have you aboard here for the really big.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan. So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish! What?
We ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shake your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. My goodness. All right, we're having a budding controversy in the chat room over what Eugene's last name is. A, Alpha, Papa, India, Charlie, Echo, Lima, Alpha. Now, my phonetics tells me that it is either Apicella. Whenever I see a name, first name, last name, verb, noun, whatever, and there's double L's, I get all crazy and go back to 10th grade Spanish class, and the double L is a Y. So I see this as Apicea. I don't think that's incorrect at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's right. Eugene, you should change your name if that's not right. Or Apsella. I don't. No, I like Apicea better. Eugene, change your last name, and that's it. It's over. File for the. I don't even know what the hell you file for when you do that. But do it now, and then get back to me next week with your name change. All right, still to come on the show tonight, Patio Daddy-O's very own John Dawson will be joining us, and then also Connie's Recipe Corner. Look at Eugene being smart with my last name. Never heard that one before. On the show next week, you might want to tune in. You might want to set a reminder or Google alarm or whatever the kids are calling it these days, because one Aaron Franklin will be joining us on the show, and I have the email to prove it. Listens to the show all the time. I mean, I doubt it. He's obviously, humoring me. He's being very polite. Show me some respect. I don't know if he's a huge fan, but he said he listens to the show all the time. He's very excited. I was like, well, you listen to the show all the time? And you still want to come on? He's like, yeah, well, sometimes you got to do it. I'm surprised he hasn't been poisoned by the barbecue Illuminati. I am compiling a list. I'm going to put it on my website, and it's going to be called the Barbecue Illuminati. Let me see how many people are in this right now. This guy, maybe this person, and who did I just... Oh, he's not in. All right, so there's currently at least three people in the barbecue Illuminati. And I'm not going to talk about their names because, as we all know, rule number 1 of the show, no names, please. But there's at least 3 people, and it could be growing in the barbecue Illuminati. And I don't want to talk about it specifically, but the Illuminati's first order of business is to not do this show anymore. Big stuff out of here. You have been warned. Yeah, more like the Illuminati. No, the Illuminati. The secret barbecue society of people that conspire to not do the show for no good reason. You know who you are. The Illuminati. Don't join them because I won't have any more show to do. The 2014 Sam's Club Series continued to roll down the southern-western portion of the country. We call it Tucson, Arizona this past weekend. This was a local event qualifier, seeing the top 6 teams move on to Las Vegas, Nevada regional final, which will take place just in a few short weeks, April 26th, so end of next month. Top 6 teams moving on to that event are, in order, grand champion, who I couldn't lock down for 10:35, but I tried really hard and he had a work commitment, Loot and Booty Barbecue. Reserve Grand Champion, IAB, India Alpha Bravo 30 Barbecue. Knife, Pork, and Spoon, Rhythm and Q, The Hog Pit Smokehouse, rounding up the top 6, Steel City Barbecue. Sounds Pittsburgh to me. Big stuff out of here. Next Sam's event is this coming weekend, March 29th, in Sacramento, California. State capital, by the way, of California, in case you are geographically mental. Good luck to all those competing this weekend. And here's this email that I was talking about. Greg, this is from Eugene Apicea. I watched the first hour of the live show last week, the second hour on YouTube. You invited your audience to submit questions, even if the topic wasn't being discussed, which I'm going to digress. I always encourage that. Send me an email on anything. I will answer anything you want. Doesn't even have to be barbecue or grilling related. You want some topics on Middle Eastern relations? I got it. You want some advice on bedroom relations? I'm an expert. So, without further ado, here goes. I check several barbecue chat groups, blogs, web pages from time to time. It seems that there are people who consider their grills to be outdoor stoves/ovens, and that anything that can be prepared in the kitchen can be done outdoors. And I'm thinking, why don't they just do them on the stove or in the oven? In my humble opinion, the dishes that one prepares on the grill or in the smoker should be done as such, and the dishes that one would normally prepare in the kitchen should be done in the kitchen. For these reasons, I am not a fan of pizza on the grill or meatloaf on the grill, although I do want to try the Pit Boys recipe for meatloaf wrapped in bacon, or pasta on the grill, and so on. I am a fan of those dishes that one traditionally prepares on the grill or in the smoker. So, with apologies for the long lead-in, here's my question. What is the thinking about cooking outdoors? Are the grills and smokers simply stoves and ovens? Can the dishes prepared on the grill be done in the kitchen and vice versa? Should they? I personally don't care or pay attention to any recipes that are start on the stove or in the oven and then finish on the grill or the smoker. Nor am I interested in the recipes that start on the grill and then finish in the oven. East is east, West is West. As always, thanks for doing a great show. You should be on cable maybe one day. If nothing else about that email, Gene, I agree with your very last sentence. The rest is questionable, I got to be honest. You know, Gene, when I was your age, kind of just getting into this whole deal, I was, in a word, snobby as well. And I learned over the years that, you know, hold on, I didn't want to do that. You know, why, I hear what you're saying. You know, why would you start something on a grill or a smoker, transfer into the oven? Why would you start something on the oven or the stove, transfer it to the grill? You know, I don't know if I'm necessarily a fan of doing that, but, you know, unlike you, I'm not opposed to trying. I mean, why wouldn't you want to try it? Variety, the spice of life, right? There are many cooking implements made for the outdoors that can do traditional grilling, that can do traditional barbecue stuff, but because of how they're made, because of the temperature control that they have, you can use them as an oven. You know, you can get a Big Green Egg or, a lot of pellet cookers to sit at 350 degrees or 375 degrees. Now, the question that you have is, well, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just bake a pie or a blueberry crisp in the oven? Prepare it on the stove, make it in the oven. Why would you put it in your cooker? Here's what I suggest. Try it out. See how a burning wood fuel, or if you're just using hardwood lump charcoal, add a small chunk of apple wood while you're smoke roasting or smoke baking your blueberry crisp or your apple pie, or whatever it is you would traditionally make in the oven. Make it on the grill. Add a piece of smoke wood. The things that you aren't getting in the stove are things that now you can try to attempt to get outdoors. You're not going to throw a piece of smoke wood in the oven and smoke your house out. You're missing out on that flavor profile. Why not throw a piece of smoke wood in, or use a different kind of charcoal, or even if there's no flavor profile added by cooking pie or eggs or whatever on the grill, get it outside. Leave the house a little bit cooler. In the middle of the summer, do you want to be pumping heat through the stove or through the oven? No, take it outside where it's already hot out. Let the kitchen cool down a bit. Don't. My parting advice on this question is this: don't ever limit yourself, Gene. Don't ever limit yourself. Try it all. Take it all in. Eat as much as you can. Taste as much as you can. Cook as many different ways as you can. Write down what's good. Write down what's bad. If it was like the worst time you've ever had, don't try it again. If it was okay, and you could write down some adjustments to make for the next time, why not do it? Don't live in the box, G. Keep looking outside the box. Why do you think I have Joey Chestnut on the show every once in a while? I mean, it has nothing to do with barbecue, but we get outside the box. Got it. Variety, the spice of life. Thank you for writing in. Keep the questions coming. If you want to take part in this show with a question and get my direct feedback, I'm more than happy to welcome you. Gene, thank you. I'm not 62 yet, but I'll be there, and then I'll be older than you. Quick public service announcement from barbecue jeweler to the star, Stephen DeFranco. Look, many different important holidays coming up here very shortly. You got Mother's Day, you got Father's Day, you got St. Patrick. They already have St. Patrick's Day? Yeah. 4th of July, number of different things coming up. What do you want? You want jewelry for you, you want a watch for you, you want rings for you or your wife or whatever. Maybe you want some artisan wood bowls. Number of different things that you can check out from my guy, Stephen DeFranco. StephenDeFranco.com is the website. See what he has in the inventory, and then once you find what you like, call him directly. Don't wait. 440-943-2700. That's 440-943-2700. And say, hey, Steve, it's Greg, or it's Pete, or it's Mike, or it's Tina, and I'm a loyal Centralite. Greg every week telling me to call in, get the real deal. He's going to ask you a bunch of questions. He's going to try and meet the budget that you're looking to stay within. He's not going to upsell you or try and get you. He's not trying to make commission or retire off you. He wants to earn your business time in, time out, customer for life. That's what they're striving for. They're not a huge chain operation that they need to pay for overhead and stupid college kids that are just looking to fatten their wallet. That's not what we're talking about here. It's Stephen DeFranco, High Class Jewelers, the person I deal with specifically, who I trust solely with. When it has anything to do with my jewelry life, I trust my jewelry life to Stephen DeFranco, and you should too. 440-943-2700, or visit StephenDeFranco.com. In fact, Steve and I will be judging a rib contest in historic downtown Willoughby here in just a few short months. So there you go. He's a barbecue expert just like me. We're back with Patio Daddy-O right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, shine with me, folks. Moonshine Bandits behind me. 216-220-0966 if you want to jump in on the show tonight. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is the email address. We continue to have fun with Eugene at Eugene's expense, but that's all right. He's a good sport. We race over the hotline and welcome a dear friend of mine, somebody that has left the bastion of Cleveland, Ohio at first opportunity and lets me hear about it all the time. John Dawson, Patio Daddy-O Barbecue. John, how are you, buddy?
Rippy! How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
No talk.
What's up with Boise?
You know, it's just the best place on earth to live, but don't tell anybody.
My lips are sealed. I've said the same thing about Cleveland for years. I just get laughed at.
Well, you're completely wrong, but we'll just let that go.
No doubt about it. All right, John Dawson joining me. The website, by the way, patiodaddyobbq.com. John, if I could, it's been a little while since you've been on. Maybe a little bit of a quick refresher on, why you got into the blog, or perhaps even better, where your inspiration of cooking came from, how that led down to the live fire route, and then how the blog started, I guess.
All right, well, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Yep. I've always liked cooking. My grandmother used to make fun of me for making quote-unquote concoctions in the kitchen as a kid, and I would rip out, as you would say, all manner of things and create great succulence.
Yes.
Of things that I thought were succulent, but the rest of the family was like, what's wrong with this kid? So, and then my grandfather, he loved hanging outside, drinking a beer, cooking chicken on a grill, and I was there with him starting the fire with the gasoline. Yes, gasoline, big fire. It was like 4th of July pretty much every Saturday. It was great. And we just sat out there, and he smoked cigars and drank beer, and we hung out in the sunshine. It was a beautiful thing over in the Beulah, as I'm sure you know where that is.
Heartfelt.
So, it's always kind of been in my blood, and then I left home, went in the Air Force for 10 years, and kind of took that with me, and at every opportunity I would try to cook out for people and thought that, everyone should be around a barbecue. And, of course, I still believe that to this day. And then how the blog started was my wife challenged me. She bought me a Weber Smoky Mountain, and she said, hey, I bought you this thing at Christmas. This is now June, and it's pretty much still in the box. So we're going to do something with this. And by the way, there's a barbecue competition in town. I think you could do this. And she kind of told me the ins and outs of it. And I called the organizer, and I told him, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, oh, yeah, come on out. Well, little did I know it was a state championship with 33 teams. And so I roll in with my one Smoky Mountain and my my Sprinkman Smoking Pit non-pro, which I called Black Betty, and I was embarrassed. I mean, there was all these RVs and all these campers. I mean, even back in 2006, it was just crazy. And I thought, I need to get out of here. This is just utter embarrassment. But I thought, I paid the entry fee. I'm here. I'm in it to win it. So I'm just going to suck it up and do what I can do. And in that team that 33 teams from all across the Northwest, I came in third in chicken.
Wow.
And so right out of the gate, I was a little bit hooked, and they said, oh, by the way, there's a competition in Utah in Salt Lake City in 2 weeks. So I went and bought another WSM, loaded it in my pickup, and drove down there with my still ghetto 2 WSMs and Smoking Pit. And I took first in chicken, fourth in pulled pork, and sixth in brisket, and I came in fourth overall at another state championship, like the second time out. So I was totally hooked. So then the blog became just an extension. I love photography. I'm an artist by training, and I do web development by day. So the blog just became basically an electronic cookbook. I got tired of writing recipes on napkins and telling people, hey, I'll email you a recipe. I thought, hey, if I can put a picture with a recipe in the quote-unquote blog thing, which I never intended to be a blogger, it can be my electronic cookbook. And so I did that, and now it's taken on a life of its own. And I've got a bunch of partners and people that I'm really appreciative of that appreciate what I do. And so it's kind of a hobby that pays for itself at this point.
What are some of the tangible benefits of keeping the blog up and running? I mean, obviously, for the people that don't know, to be a successful blogger, and I don't consider myself to be a blogger by any stretch of the imagination, but when I go to blogs to read, obviously the first thing that has to be there is fresh content. So how do you continue to challenge yourself to be able to post stuff to keep people coming back and trafficking your site?
Well, it's interesting because right now you've hit me at kind of a low point because in the last 4.5 months, we've had 2 really close deaths in the family. So I don't say that for sympathy. I'm just saying that I've fallen behind. I used to set a goal. My goal was at 2 posts a week was my initial goal. And then, of course, I have 3 teenage daughters and a life and a house and a real job and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it became, bare minimum, 1 post a week. And so lately that's fallen off because I've just been dealing with lawyers and estate people and just all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm way behind, and I've got a stack of reviews that I owe people, and I take that very seriously. So what I do for fresh content is I just basically try to bring people along with what I do in my normal life. And fortunately for me, that means that cookbooks show up at my door. Today I got Melissa Cookston's cookbook showed up at my door. Grills show up at my door. Sauces show up at my door. So I'm really blessed in the sense that I have lots of opportunity for new material. And so I just try to be true to the things that I believe in. I write about. I don't pull any punches. I call it like I see it. And so I've got a lot of great partnerships. Kingsford, I've got 2 new ones in the pipeline for this year. And so, Hidden Valley Ranch and Johnsonville Sausage. And I just got a great team of partners that come back to me year after year because they know that I consistently post good content or what I think is good content. And there's a lot of fringe benefits. I get a lot of trips out of the deal. I get a lot of product out of the deal. So it's, like I said, it's a hobby that pays for itself. I don't ever really want it to be a job at this point. I just want it to be, let me do what I do, and I'll give you some good attention, and you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing, as long as I believe in what you're doing. I will never put my name on something I don't believe in. So I'm just kind of really blessed in that sense.
John Dawson joining me, creator of the PatioDaddyOBBQ.com blog. John, as you started it, as you see where it is now, obviously, as you said, you're kind of low on post right now, but obviously that'll change. How have you seen the evolution of your blog from when you started it till you're here today? Did it pretty much take the path that you saw, or have there been a lot of different crazy turns that you didn't even expect?
Oh, I had no clue. Like I said, I started out with the goal being I just want to make my information available to people so I can send them a URL rather than send them a recipe and then get their feedback. And so the blog was just a natural for that. So I never had any inclination to turn it into anything that it's become. So it is literally, like when I say it's taken on a life of its own, it's very literally been that way. I mean, I'm blessed to say that I turn away a lot of product and a lot of opportunities, and especially this time of the year. I mean, obviously, you know as well as I do, and anybody in barbecue knows, there's a natural ebb and flow in the season. So, you know, you ride the wave of Memorial Day that leads into barbecue season, that leads into tailgating season, that leads into Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that stuff. So I just ride the wave, and there's just no shortage of people that want to get their word out. And so what I do is I just sit back and say, okay, what do I think my readers are interested in? What would I buy if I was a reader? And so I just want to always be true to who I am. It's not unlike some other bloggers, and I won't mention any names, that will take anything that comes along as a opportunity to kind of feather their own nest. I'm not like that. I will literally turn people away and say, listen, I don't want a robotic scrubber that cleans my grill, because it's just kind of crazy, you know. So I take a kind of a Shark Tank approach. If it works for me, it'll work for my readers. And so that's just kind of how I approach it. But the short answer is no. I had no idea it would be where it is today. And every year it just never ceases to amaze me.
You know, you touched on it just a second ago, and, you know, maybe we could delve into it just a little bit more. You know, for the folks that are thinking about blogging or doing something similar to you, maybe it's in a completely different arena or different industry, but bloggers by trade are similar-minded type people. They like to write, they like to produce content. So, of course, along with that, there's got to be a certain code of ethics to go along. You know, what have you found amongst the other barbecue bloggers that you respect and that you look up to? What's okay to do? What's douchey to do? What's straight up illegal that you don't want to do for the people that should be taking into account before they open up their own blogs and start going?
Well, really, to me, it all starts at do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In other words, if you stumble upon something that you like and you want to, you know, shout from the rooftops or post or whatever it is, at least ask, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing this. Do you mind? And usually most bloggers, myself included, will say, listen, as long as you link back to me and you put a byline on there or give me attribution is kind of the buzzword, I don't really care what you do, because in the end, you know, you're getting some benefit, I'm getting some benefit. We can all play along well in the sandbox and life's good. But there are a few select people, and I'm not going to name any names, but there are some people out there that will take it as an opportunity to go steal, you know, and I will use that word very, very intentionally. They will steal other people's content, be it pictures, be it recipes, be it whatever, and they will put it on their site, which gives it the impression that this is my creative intellectual property. Well, it's, you know, and they basically wait around for someone to catch them. And if nobody catches them, then they think they, you know, kind of quote unquote got away with something. So I've caught a few people using my pictures, one of them which was on a barrel smoker company, and they were using a product that doesn't even belong to me, the pit barrel cooker. They were using my pictures of another cooker as in their electronic catalog. So at that point, it really skirts the line between, okay, not only are you infringing on my intellectual property being the photograph that I created, but now you're causing potential harm to my partner who gave me that cooker in good faith that I took a picture of. So I feel like I have an obligation to go to the mat for them and say, hey, listen, and I don't try to bring, I'm not a big fan of lawyers. You know, I apologize for some lawyers out there, but as long as I can keep lawyers out of the picture, I will say, hey, listen, this isn't right. It's wrong. And most people, to their credit, will do the right thing. They'll say, we'll take it down. We're sorry. And they will be overly apologetic. But then there are other people, like some of the bloggers that I mentioned or tacitly mentioned, that will just be like, what's the big deal? And they just don't get it, that you're stealing my stuff in order to make yourself look better. And it's just not cool. So at that point, it's, you know, like I said, I want to keep my blog a hobby. So I don't want to drag a bunch of lawyers in and do cease and desist letters and all that kind of crap. So I just try to appeal to their sense of just dignity and doing the right thing. And most people probably 95% of them will be overly apologetic. I didn't know what was going on. I'm sorry. And so that's just how I approach it. But to me, it's just, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and then everything will be good. So,
John Dawson, creator of the PatioDaddyOBBQ.com blog, if you want to check it out here while we're talking. John, you'd mentioned it a couple minutes ago. You got your hands on a fresh, new copy of the Melissa Cookston's cookbook, or a book that she had been working on. So I don't know if you're allowed, but can you scoop us or give us a first-look review exclusive on that?
Sure. From what I read, I literally got it. I walked in the door like 2.5 hours ago from work, and there it was propped up next to my door, and so I ripped it open, and I will say that it's very, very well done. The pictures are great. The recipes are great. I took it to the restroom for a restroom test, as I think all guys could appreciate. A little weird, but hey, I took it in there and I looked at it, and she's got her competition shoulder recipe in there. She's got her competition baby backs and spare ribs and her mother sauce and, perfectly smoked chicken and Memphis caviar, I think she calls it. So it looks to be a great book. Obviously, I haven't tried anything in it, but it seems like she's kind of pulled no punches. I mean, I don't have insight into know how real her competition recipes are, but I'm Melissa, and I know that she's a pretty straight shooter, and I can't imagine her publishing something that would be far afield from what she does in real life. So it looks like a great book. The design is really clean. The recipes are really well written. There's a lot of little backstory about how she got to where she is. And so based on what I've seen, and this is truly a quote unquote first look impression, it's a great book, and I would highly recommend it. So.
All right. Well, if it's getting the nod from you, obviously it's something that if people like. But obviously, we all know I don't know how to read, so it's something I'm going to have to pass up considerably. However, if most people do know how to read, so they'll probably want to check it out. Were you surprised? I mean, I'm just kind of learning here before we hit the air. The last time I talked to Melissa, she was in as new permanent judge on Barbecue Pitmasters, and then before this new season even hits. It seems that she's on the outs, and you got the BMC in there. Is anything that you had heard or saw on the internets on that?
No, that's all new to me. So I have no clue. I mean, I like Barbecue Pitmasters for the exposure that it gives to barbecue, but somewhat like you, I'm really getting tired of the kind of homogenized competition format that the Chops of the world and other things that they try to over competitionize, I guess, to coin a phrase, things and make it look more dramatic than it really is. I mean, I do competitions. I only do a few a year, but I know what really goes on in a competition. And generally what shows up on TV it pales in comparison to what, a real competition is like. And you and I were at the Kingsford Invitational, and I think you got a taste of that. So I haven't heard any of the drama behind it. I'm just kind of probably like you, waiting for the next season to show up, and I'll judge it for what it is. But I think it's going in a better direction, not in the best direction, but in a better direction. So.
As far as the blog is concerned, John, anything that we want to be keeping our eyes out for that you're going to be working on?
Well, like I alluded to, I'm way behind. I've got a bunch of product reviews that are due. I've got a review on a book of homemade condiments that I think will be kind of cool. I've got a new partnership with AgriBeef, who's the parent company of Snake River Farms. So they've got some things in the pipeline for me starting in Easter, like a prime rib of pork, which is kind of I'm sure, Greg, that they've renamed a bunch of pork cuts. So I'm really happy to be working with them. And I've got another potential partnership with a super high-end national grocer that wants me to do some kind of barbecue spokesmanship for them. So I don't know where that's going to go. So I've got a lot of things in the pipeline. And so we're kind of at the height of the season and things are ramping up. So we'll just kind of see where the wind takes us. But in general, I think people's barbecue budgets are it seems like they're kind of waning a little bit. So some of these opportunities are seems to me a little bit fleeting. But I'm just kind of along for the ride, and they approach me. I don't go out beating the bushes for anybody, and I just wait for them to come to me, not because I'm some big somebody, but just because it's a hobby for me, and I want to, give people the stuff that I'm interested in. So there's some cool stuff coming.
Make sure you follow the website. It's patiodaddiobbq.com. We're talking with the creator, John Dawson. John, always appreciate the time. On many different levels, I appreciate you coming in tonight, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. I appreciate all you do for barbecue, Greg. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
You got it. There he is, John Dawson. Check him out. patiodaddiobbq.com. A lot of great pictures, a lot of great recipes on there as well. A lot of great reviews, and I think, as John said, he's not a guy that is looking to pull punches when he's giving reviews. I think we're similar in the fact that, when you've seen me review sauces on the show, for as many sauces that I've said are good or adequate or ones that you could consider buying, there's been just as many or more that I said, quite frankly, are dog shit.
Get that big stuff out of here.
In my defense, I do preface people asking me to do a sauce review with, this is my preferred flavor profile. This is what hits my palate the right way. So if it doesn't meet it, you're probably at a disadvantage. And the people that really think their sauce is good go, do it anyway. We're confident. Hey, I appreciate, if nothing else, I appreciate the balls. All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply, known for their amazing wide selection of cookers, sauces, rubs, all the things for both the backyard cook and the serious competition team. They sell Big Green Eggs, Kamado Joe, Primo Ceramics, Mac and Green Mountain pellet grills, all of the Weber grills and smokers, as well as Meadow Creek smokers and cookers. They're one of the largest barbecue guru dealers in the country and the very first to offer professional and amateur cooking classes featuring well-known chefs like Todd Johns, Dan Hickson, Harry Sue from Slap Yo Daddy. Call Fred Bernardo, the smoking guitar player, or call him whatever you want as long as you look to buy something, for crying out loud. Anyway, what I mean to say is this. Call him up or any of his friendly staff at 800-677-2882. It's 800-677-2882, or just go on over to your friendly internets and look them up at tastylicksbbq.com. That's tastylicksbbq.com. And don't forget, Smoke and Dart Player has over 150 cooking videos on the website. And in a couple of them, he doesn't even try and sell you anything at all. That's right. Again, it's Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply in beautiful, tropical, downtown Shillington, Pennsylvania. tastylicksbbq.com. That's tastylicksbbq.com. All right, we are back with Connie's Recipe Corner right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Who would have thought this music?
All right, we are back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Those are the two ways to get in touch with me should you want. Thanks again to John Dawson from Patio Daddio Barbecue. PatioDaddioBBQ.com, the website, if you want to check them out. Helping me close out the show tonight, somebody that you find appearing here regularly. We have a new portion of the website dedicated to her succulent recipes. Let's go ahead and race over to the hotline and welcome my mommy, Connie Rempe, back to the show. Mom, how are you?
Hello, Greg. This is your mother.
See? All the... God damn it. See, everybody thought it was a joke, but you were really calling in all those times.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, heaven forbid people think that it was a joke on my end.
I mean, how hilarious is that?
I don't know. I mean, it's people making fun of you, I guess. I'm not going to stand for that, quite honestly. Forget it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, of course. Now, we have you on to do these, what we call the Connie Recipe Court. Jeffrey Stark saying that this lady on the phone is an imposter. Outrageous. Jeffrey, back up. We have you on. We do the full boat or the full complement of a meal. So we go appetizer, we go main course, we go dessert. And before we get into the items that we're going to be talking about tonight, I was reading an email from Eugene, and he said, I'm east is east, west is west. If it's supposed to be in the oven, it should be on the oven. If it's supposed to be in the stove, it should be in the stove. You don't cook anything that's supposed to be barbecue inside, and don't cook anything that's not outside. As someone who has really been a culinary genius for as long as I have been alive, is that advice that you would give to friends and family or people asking for your counsel when it comes to cooking, or what?
Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, you can do whatever you want, wherever you want. That's, recipes are only guidelines. There's nothing set in stone. You can do whatever you feel like.
And as I said, when you and I don't say that just because the great Stephen Reichlin says it. If it tastes good inside, it's going to taste even better on the grill. When you put it on live fire, whatever form the fuel is, you're obviously going to be changing some flavor profiles, maybe adding some flavor profiles you wouldn't normally get inside because you don't want to burn the house down or at least smoke it out.
True. That is true. Of
course.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. We'll start with the appetizer because, quite honestly, that's what most people start with when they're eating at home or out in the restaurants. And this is a crispy cheese risotto cake.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Risotto seems to be a, what do they call that? God damn it, I can't think of the word. It's
an avant-garde.
No, but it seems very intimidating. That's the word I'm looking. Because I always, when I watch Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay is always yelling at the appetizer cooks, "You're screwing up the risotto! You're screwing up the risotto!" Like, it's got to be such a certain way, otherwise it's bad. So I've really never ever even tried to make it. So to hear that it's a crispy cheese risotto cake, I'm already on guard.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't be, and that's the shtick of his show. He's yelling at everybody for everything. So risotto is not intimidating. It takes a little time, but it's worthwhile, and you're not going to screw it up. So, yeah, and this is like one of these really easy appetizers because you can prep it the day before. And for me, anything I can do the day before a party or, anybody coming over is a good thing. So, and I think most people kind of know the basic risotto recipe, but you just start out by, in a skillet, melting a couple tablespoons of butter, adding your diced onions and cooking them until they're softened. Then you're going to add your rice. And a little salt, and just sautéing that until all the rice gets incorporated with the butter. Then you're going to add your white wine. Now, of course, you're going to add a good white wine, and while you're doing that, you're going to have a nice glass of white wine for yourself.
Of course.
Yes. So you're going to, with all risotto, you add a liquid, you let it cook until it's evaporated. Then you're going to add, after the white wine, just like a half a cup of water. Let that reduce down. You're going to add another half cup of water till you've gotten to use about 3 cups of water. And that's it. It's easy to do. You just have to watch it so you're not going to burn it. Other than that, it's easy. Your risotto is done. You're going to pour that into a bowl and let it cool down. And to that, you're going to add freshly grated Parmesan cheese and fresh mozzarella cheese that you're going to dice into little cubes. Mix it all together. Then you're going to put it in a 8-inch square baking dish, which you've lined with plastic wrap. And you want enough plastic wrap overlying the pan so when it's done, you can fold the plastic wrap over the top and cover it, because you're going to then refrigerate the risotto for at least 4 hours until it's nicely set. Or what I would do is always do it the day before, so you can chill it overnight and have that part done. So then when you want to use it, you're taking it out of the refrigerator, pulling it out of the pan, cutting it into about 24 pieces, and then you're going to cook it in clarified butter. Now, if you don't want to clarify your own butter, you can cook it in a little olive oil, but truly the butter is always going to give you a better flavor point. So you're going to cut it into the 24 squares, and then you're going to dip it into rice flour, which has less gluten than regular flour, so it gives you a crispier crust. And you're going to cook them for about 4 minutes until they're nice golden brown, and serve them immediately. And they're just cheesy, delicious, wonderful. I like it plain. You could probably add some marinara sauce or a little hot sauce on it if you want, but for me, plain is better.
And this is, you said, mozzarella or gabagool?
Mozzarella.
Now, when we talk about the mozzarella, does it have to be? I mean, there's so many different kinds. Do you want to steer away from certain mozzarella? Do you want the stuff like in the water that's all like doughy cheese, or do you want the stuff just out of the bag, or what?
Well, of course, use whatever you have. I like the stuff that's in the liquid, so it's really nice and moist.
Yes, all right, and it melts all right.
Yes, it does.
All right, perfect. So that's the crispy cheese risotto cakes. We move to the main course after you're done with that succulent appetizer. And you go stovetop mac and cheese. So obviously we have a little cheese thing going on here because my deductive reasoning skills are that of Sipowicz and Clark from the old NYPD Blue.
Exactly.
I love me some mac and cheese. I have Grandma Rempe's old recipe, literally on a recipe card. And I still make it to this day. I also have, I can't believe I'm going to, I'm sorry?
Old school.
Oh, yeah, old school. And then I can't believe I'll say this out loud, but I have Guy Fieri's Mac Daddy mac and cheese recipe, which the girls absolutely love because I, up the ante from 4 pieces of bacon to 2 pounds. Nevertheless, it's still a good recipe all by itself. So I'm interested to hear about stovetop mac and cheese and how I might be able to incorporate this into some dinner sooner than later.
Okay, well, again, this one also has bacon in it, too. So you're going to, and again, you can use as much bacon as you want. This is probably using about 5 strips of bacon, but if you want to put in 2 pounds of bacon, so be it.
Right.
You're going to dice your bacon initially and just, cook it until it's lightly crisp, drain it off, set it aside. Then in a pot of well-salted water, you're going to boil the pasta, whichever pasta you so desire. I like a corkscrew because you can get a lot of the sauce mixed in with that.
Okay, hold on. Hold on one second.
Yes.
You've brought something to my attention.
Okay.
I'm always hearing about this, I'm doing air quotes that you can't see, well-salted water.
Yes.
I mean, what the hell does that mean? Is that like a couple sprinkles? Is that a cup? Or what?
Well, I have a little salt cellar next to my stove that I pick up a nice little handful of the tips, if you will, of your hand and throw it in the water. The water should be like seawater.
Really?
It should smell like the ocean.
Isn't that putting too much salt taste on the pasta?
No, because pasta, basically, if you didn't salt the water, is going to taste pretty bland. So, and that's really the time where you're going to get it nicely salted. And I don't think I've ever tasted my pasta and thought, whoa, I put in way too much salt.
All right.
So, of course, obviously, if you add a cup of water or a cup of salt to the water, that probably would be too much. But, I'm not going to do that either. But, just nicely salted water.
Okay. Like the ocean.
Just like the ocean.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm close to water, so, that kind of salty stuff.
Right.
But anyhow, throw in your pasta, cook it till it's al dente. And then before you drain off all the water, you're going to reserve probably about a cup of that pasta water for the sauce later. And then drain your pasta. And then in that same pot that you cooked it in, you're going to add some butter. Then throw back in the cooked pasta, adding about a half a cup of that reserved pasta water, which is nice and starchy, and it really helps adding a thickness to the sauce. And to that, you're adding American cheese, which I know people say, hey, it's processed cheese, but you know what? It makes the best mac and cheese there is. It's really creamy. It melts easily. But with that, too, you're going to add cheddar cheese and then just stir it until it's all melted. And you're only using about maybe 4 or 5 tablespoons of milk. Then you're going to add in the bacon that you had cooked, a little pepper, a little fresh parsley, and you're done. Serving it with a nice crusty bread and a green salad, and you got a great dinner. And it's easy.
Give me a time frame on this. I'm very busy.
You're very busy.
Yes.
Well, as long as it takes you to cook the bacon, which is probably maybe 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, but I can do that. I could do that in advance if I wanted to.
And you can,
yep.
Yeah. So
or I could
as long
use
as
that the pre-ready bacon that you can get at the grocery store. I mean, if I had to.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm
we've
not
hit
a
a
fan
nerve.
of that.
Oh boy, we've hit a nerve.
Yeah, I tried it once and thought, that's one thing that maybe you don't want to think that's a good shortcut.
Greg, this is your mother calling. Look here, you stupid idiot. Don't make the already made bacon. I'm not gonna I won't call your show anymore. Forget it. Forget the pre-made bacon.
All right.
Exactly.
I
Now you
apologize.
remember that.
My apologies.
You remember that.
Wow.
Yes. So as long as it takes you to boil the water and shred the cheese, you got dinner in like 15 minutes.
Wow. I mean, it sounds really good.
It is. It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So we got crispy cheese risotto cakes. We got stovetop mac and cheese. We're going to end it. And as well as anybody else that follows my particular palate, I am not sweet. I'm a sweet guy, but I don't like sweet stuff. So, baked fudge already, kind of makes me leery that, it's going to be all fudgy and rich and probably like what 99% of everybody else would actually love.
Well, I'm kind of with you on this one because when I had found this recipe, I thought, ooh, baked fudge. I hate fudge.
Yeah.
It's just too sweet and it's just I don't know, don't like it. But this, to me, it should be like a baked brownie because it has kind of a brownie consistency on the top. It's kind of a crusty on the top with kind of a pudding texture on the inside. So yeah, it's not an overly sweet dessert at all. You could give this a try and think you might like it.
All right.
And plus, it's all made in one bowl, which to me is always a good thing. You're using just eggs, sugar, a couple heaping tablespoons of cocoa and flour. So, you don't even have to level off. You just scoop that tablespoon in there and throw it in a bowl. You're going to add to that a stick of melted butter, some vanilla extract, stir it all together. You're cooking it and pouring it into ramekins that are then going to go into a pan big enough to add water to it.
Yep.
So it cooks in a water bath. So you're putting water halfway up the ramekin, cooking in the oven for about 40 to 50 minutes. taking it, and it should just kind of be crusty on the top and set in the center. And if you feel it might not be quite set, you're better off by cooking it the whole 50 minutes than maybe, shorting that up to the 40 minutes. But taking it out, letting it cool off just a little bit, serving it with vanilla ice cream or coffee ice cream or whatever ice cream floats your boat. I truly think you would like this because it's really good, and it's not fudge. To me, baked fudge was like, when I first read that recipe, it was like, how do you bake fudge?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't like fudge, and I'm baking it seemed a little weird, but yeah, it's more like brownie stuff, which is, I really like brownies, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll eat a
for
brownie.
me.
My kids will eat brownies like you won't believe, but I will have a brownie every now and again. All right, so we have ending the meal baked fudge. In the middle, we had the main course of stovetop mac and cheese, and then we started with the crispy cheese risotto cakes. These items will be available starting tomorrow at some point. I'll have them up on the website, so if you go to thebbqcentralshow.com, and then I believe it's in the link section. There's a portion that says Connie's Recipe Corner, and you will see tonight's date, which will be having the recipes housed right there, all for you on the worldwide internet, so go ahead and grab them all you want. Mom, always appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you again soon with some new great recipes.
Absolutely. As always, it was a pleasure.
Well, thank you. That's my mom. Love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Connie Rempe joining me and helping me close out the show. Oddly enough, Bizarro Connie Rempe came in as well. Hate standing near hot grills, waiting for your foods? Yeah, let iGrill take care of it. The iGrill 2, the iGrill Mini Bluetooth grilling thermometers work with your iOS device to let you know when your food is perfectly cooked from 150 feet away. They magnetically mount to your grill or smoker and come packed with pretty awesome features like graphic, minimum and maximum temperature settings, and custom alarms. The powerful yet compact single probe iGrill Mini comes complete with proximity wake-up and LED temperature indicators that go through a range of color based on doneness. Red lets you know your food is done. Green, yellow, orange show its progress. Get your own iGrill Mini for $39.99 at this particular address, letter I, Devices Inc. That's IndiaDevicesInc.com, iDevicesInc.com, or at select Lowe's stores. Haven't heard of Lowe's stores? Where do you live, under a rock? The iGrill 2, bigger and badder. Forget about Deffer. With full illuminated display for probes for maximum temperature tracking. Shipping in May, so starting month after next. Your iGrill 2 for $99.99. You get free shipping on all orders over $50 or more at iDevicesInc.com. You can follow iGrill on the Facebook for exclusive offers and barbecue updates. Just to review, you can get your own iGrill Mini for $39.99 at iDevicesInc.com or select Lowe's stores. And you can also pre-order your iGrill 2. Again, full illuminated display, 4 probes for maximum temperature tracking for $99.99. That one would qualify for free shipping because it is over $50, and you can do that at iDevicesInc.com. Thanks to iGrill for partnering with the show. We're back to wrap up this whole deal right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Thanks to my mom for coming on last segment. Connie's Recipe Corner on my website, thebbqcentralshow.com, if you want to check it out. We'll have the latest version of recipes up here tomorrow for your downloading and trial enjoyment. I want to address something. Patio Daddy-O, him and this Julie Everett are talking about different cheeses and how they melt and all this other stuff, and John says melty succulence. That is something that I would say. So first of all, yeah, I mean, probably. I'm hearing the words melty cheese on radio commercials, particularly with like Subway or Applebee's or something that has to do with cheese. Man, I hate it. What the hell is melty cheese? Melty cheese? How about just melted cheese? Because that's what it is. Melty seems like it's trapped in between its solid state and its melted state, and it's like in between. It's melty. Just say melted. Melty cheese is so annoying. It's like selfie and just saying and being honest or all those other stupid things that people say all the goddamn time. I hate it. Melty cheese. Melty cheese. Oh, you can get your Subway sandwich with melty cheese, ladies and gentlemen. Melty. Get that big stuff out of here. Get my bun, cut the middle out, stick the damn meatballs in it, put gabagool, put it in the hot oven, and melt the mother effer. That's what I want. Melted cheese with the ED on the end. With the ED on the end. I'm not talking about that ED, bro. No. We ain't about that. We ain't about that. All right, let's wrap this up. You know what I'm talking about with the ED. You probably don't.
Barbecue Central Show podcast being generated from a live recording of the Barbecue Central Show, which airs at
just wait a darn minute.
Every Tuesday between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. This is the Barbecue Central Show podcast being generated.
I guess we know what just happened there. All right, here we go. Julie, I heartily disagree. Melty is the worst. Actually, the only thing that I agree with melty is melty snow, which is not happening either here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame City. All the way back in the first hour, we want to thank Lynn Shivers, president of the IBCA, ibcabbq.org, O-R-G. Also, we want to thank CJ, Clarence Joseph, for talking about the big win over at the W3 Barbecue Cook-Off Series. He won this past weekend and then ended up winning the whole series. Second hour, John Dawson, PatioDaddy-O-BBQ.com. And rounding it out tonight, my mom, Connie Rempe, and Connie's Recipe Corner can be found on my website, thebbqcentralshow.com. If you got the raw cast iron, season it each and every time. Little Pam, little Crisco as it cools down after you've hit it with the grill brush. Generations of rust-free service also. September. How come? Am I not allowed to finish what I need to say? Is that what it is? Man, oh man. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe. Good night now.